Coming up on Oxford Weekly News, the cost of keeping students safe during Green Beer Day.
But first, Miami reaffirms its commitment to transgender students amid changes to federal protection policies. Welcome to Oxford Weekly News. I'm Angie Riffle.
And I'm Skylar Dubelko. Thanks for joining us. Miami University has been implementing changes over the past few years to make campus more transgender friendly. Oxford Weekly News reporter Sierra Muir spent time with students to learn more.
Thanks, Skylar. Under the new Trump administration, the government's position on transgender rights has changed, stripping federal protections from students and schools. I sat down with members of Miami's community to talk about the impact this change has here.
I remember when I first came here, there was no gender-neutral bathrooms anywhere on campus, and I was always in this state of like, where do you go? What do you do?
5 years ago, Miami's transgender inclusive restrooms were almost non-existent.
And while it's gotten better, I'm very sad for the people who I know are coming after me and are going to have to deal with that, because that is a very stressful situation to be in.
On March 6th, the Supreme Court decided not to hear a case concerning transgender rights in Virginia. This decision was a setback for advocates of transgender rights, and one that Snow is frustrated by.
I think Laverne Cox put it best when she said, it's not about the bathrooms, it's about my right as a person to exist in a public space. If I can't pee anywhere, I can't go to that place.
Vice President of Student Affairs Jane Brownell released a letter to the Miami community February 28th that expressed Miami's support of transgender students.
Miami will continue to support the transgender students through efforts such as the Preferred Names Project, providing all gender bathrooms, and by offering a range of on-campus residential options.
There's no data on the number, but officials estimate there are 15 to 20 transgender students on Miami's campus. Snow feels that she hasn't felt support from Miami's administration until recently.
Up until very recently, it seemed that, well, the university faculty and much of the staff was very opening, and especially the student body as well, was very open to being accepting and validating for trans people and their identities. The administration didn't really care, I'll be honest.
Jackson says that students should engage with administration and the LGBT community through events, as well as stepping up within their organizations.
I think taking on strong leadership roles within student organizations and demanding that those student organizations live up to a positive code of conduct. I know we talk about love and honor, but I talk about love, honor, and pride.
Snow feels passionate that Miami's administration, faculty, and staff need to take a stand against bias.
You need to be able to stand up for what you know is right. I mean, the first part of Miami's slogan is love. It's, you can't have love when you're being prejudiced against people based on inconsequential things.
Jackson encourages students to utilize resources such as the Office of GLBTQ Services website for more information on gender-neutral restrooms and housing. Options for gender-inclusive housing include mixed-gender suites, private restrooms, and a variety of other options. Back to you, Angie.
With the busiest day of the year for local bars around the corner, Miami's Pier Hawks health educators are doing their part to make sure students stay safe. 250 students attended this Good Samaritan Forum on March 8th. Students were able to ask Miami faculty, MUPD, and OPD officers questions they had about the policy.
It's still kind of being mistreated and it's still a little ambiguous, and students aren't using it to their own benefit. So they're kind of just trying to make it known that it's not scary, that it's meant to help them, and it's here for them.
On March 9th, community members were invited to a Good Samaritan and alcohol poisoning workshop held by the Mayor of Oxford and the University President's Office.
To know what to do, what to look out for, and when to make that call that it's time to make that call. And that's why we invited Rebecca Baudry Young here today, and she is the Director of the Office of Student Wellness.
The program was targeted toward Oxford's late-night workers and cab drivers. It covered the Good Samaritan policy, signs of alcohol poisoning, and steps to take in high-risk situations.
March means St. Patrick's Day, and for Miami students, Green Beer Day. Hannah Jolly joins us with more on the unique Miami holiday.
Thanks, Skylar. Green Beer Day is Oxford's biggest unofficial holiday, and to prepare, Oxford Police Department is bringing in reinforcements. I spoke with the Oxford Police Department to see the measures it will be taking to keep students safe. Green Beer Day is Thursday, March 16th, and the Oxford Police Department already has a plan. OPD is bringing in regional police to help as reinforcement. They will join with Miami University Police Department, Butler County Sheriff deputies, state troopers, and liquor agents with the Ohio Investigative Unit. OPD Police Chief John Jones says these extra measures come at a cost.
Well, I don't have that calculated out, but certainly we're paying officers overtime. We're bringing in officers that don't normally work that day. And so, for instance, our third shift officers stay a couple hours late. Our afternoon officers come in a couple hours early, as well as our day shift. So I don't have the figures, but certainly it does have a financial impact to the city.
Patrol Officer John Varley says these measures are worth it.
But as far as for overtime for our people and stuff like that, yeah, it does get pretty expensive. But we know that this is one of the times every year that we have to pay extra to have officers here to try and make it as safe as we can.
These enforcements will be closely patrolling the uptown area and the surrounding house parties beginning at 5 a.m. Reasons police may enter a party include noise violations, litter violations, disorderly conduct, and underage drinking. Ohio State Highway Patrol will be on the roads to crack down on drunk driving. Patrol Officer John Varley says these extra measures are in everyone's best interest.
You have a job to do. It's not personal. We're not out to try and, as some people would try and say that, we're ruining their life or whatever. We're not here to ruin your life, but we are here to try and make sure that you go home in pretty much the same condition that you came out in.
In a statement released to Oxford Weekly News, Miami University says, the university works hard to educate students about being healthy and making smart and safe decisions. Green Beer Day poses challenges to both those concepts. March 16th is a regular day in the university's academic calendar, and students are expected to be in class. There are also several initiatives underway by student and university groups to make sure the day is less risky to students who participate, including a Green Beer Day forum on March 13th, featuring police with information on the law and high-risk drinking dangers. Also, a breakfast served that morning on Slant Walk.
Oxford Police Department aimed to crack down on fake IDs the weekend of March 3rd. OPD detectives were on hand to help local bar staff identify students attempting to use fake IDs. Police Sergeant John Varley said the operation was a success, but had some unanticipated side effects.
The heightened sense of officers being around and that type of thing, it may discourage some people from doing some behaviors that they probably shouldn't be doing in the first place.
Oxford leaders say the governor's proposed budget would have a negative impact on the city's bottom line. At its March 7th City Council meeting, City Council approved a resolution opposing Ohio Governor Kasich's 2017 budget. City leaders say the budget would take away local control over Oxford's income tax and move control to the state government. In other news, Council approved the Oxford's financial manager's plan to enter a renewal contract with Red Tree Investment for the city's investable funds. City officials also okayed the transfer of public money to begin construction for a new city hall at the old Lane Library.
The investigation into stolen kitchen equipment at McCall Hospital has been solved. The Oxford Police Department received a phone call from hospital administrators who said they no longer wished to pursue the investigation. Police say that the theft had been committed by an employee who stole the kitchen equipment and had since returned every item. The hospital is handling the issue internally. The stolen items were valued between $5,000 and $20,000.
Miami University's Symphony Orchestra is celebrating its centennial on Wednesday, March 15th in Hall Auditorium. The concert has developed a life of its own due to recent global political developments, and university efforts towards social justice, human rights, and diversity have made this event more meaningful than ever. Director of Orchestra Studies, Ricardo Averbach, organized the event.
I had no idea of what was coming up to happen in the world. And suddenly We are playing the most appropriate music.
The concert's most prominent piece will be a cantata written to express the dreams of visionary leaders such as Martin Luther King Jr., Mahatma Gandhi, Chief Seattle, and the Mexican poet Guillermo Velázquez. Arturo Marquez, one of Mexico's most prominent composers, will guest compose.
Coming up on Oxford Weekly News, Talawanda School District's plan for the next possible renovation.
Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Oxford Weekly News. I'm Angie Riffle. The Talawanda School District may have a brand new Kramer Elementary building, but there's still one other school in the district that doesn't even have central air conditioning. I got to see what's next on Talawanda's renovation list. Marshall Elementary School was built in 1968. Since then, it has doubled in size to accommodate its 400 students. New wings were added in 1989 and 1997. The new gym was built in 2005. But the school's core is still stuck in the past. Some electric equipment is outdated, and the 50-year-old cast iron pipes can cause plumbing problems. For that reason, Talawanda School District is hoping to renovate Marshall Elementary.
Obviously, I think we all would be very excited about the possibility of having things upgraded and improved in the building. There are times when, the electric creates an issue when it gets really hot. We do have window air conditioners in some of the rooms, and sometimes you have to make the choice of, do we run the air conditioner or do we turn on the computers that were in the room?
The district is currently coming up with a plan, but the possibility of renovating mostly depends on whether the state helps to fund the project. The estimated cost of renovating the elementary school would be about $8 million. The district hopes that $2 million of those dollars will be provided by the state. The rest would be funded internally by the school district and would not raise taxes. Talawanda's chief financial advisor, Mike Davis, is optimistic that the state will contribute to the project.
The fact that we could be possibly shovel-ready, meaning that we've got our financing lined up, we're not going on the ballot, we're only seeking about $2 million, could bode very well with the commission and with the controlling board in Columbus, because we're ready to go.
Talawanda will submit a funding application in May. The application will be presented to the Ohio School Facilities Commission sometime over the summer. If state funding is approved, the renovation process could begin as early as spring of 2018.
Miami's Diversity Affairs Council conducted its annual Diversity Week, March 4th through the 10th. The events this year were centered around a theme of education and featured multiple workshops and speakers for personal development. The week ended with a banquet to celebrate working together as diverse communities on Miami's campus.
So we have a kind of grand banquet dinner and give out awards for like outstanding diverse organization or an event or a faculty staff member. It's always a really beautiful ceremony.
The banquet also celebrates the life of Levatus Powell, the husband of a former vice president of student affairs at Miami and former VP of Procter & Gamble.
On March 7th, the Associated Student Government held its first debate between the 5 pairs of candidates for the next president and vice president. The first election will be held on March 13th and 14th, but to win the election, one of the pairs needs to win 50% of the vote. With 5 pairs on the ticket, it's expected that there will be a second election between the 2 pairs that received the highest amount of votes in the first election. The second election will take place 2 weeks after Miami University's spring break.
Coming up on Oxford Weekly News, we discuss the new counseling center with Patch.com reporter Abby Gingras.
Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Oxford Weekly News. I'm Angie Riffle, joined now by Abby Gingras, a student reporter for Oxford's Patch News site. Abby, you recently published a story on Oxford's new counseling center. Tell us why you became interested in this topic.
So we were talking about the new counseling center in my journalism class, and I just thought it was such an interesting story because Oxford was lacking a counseling center before this, and I just thought it was amazing how all the community members came together to really push for this counseling center and get it opened in such a short amount of time.
Okay. And why was the counseling center such a necessary addition for the community?
So previously Oxford did have its own counseling center, but that actually closed in October of 2015. So when that happened, Oxford community members had to go to either Hamilton or Middletown to get the services that they needed. And transportation was a huge problem for a lot of people, so it was really necessary to have this center in Oxford. So as soon as that center closed, community members came together and really pushed to have this center in Oxford, and they were able to do it in just over a year, which is such an amazing feat, because that really is such a short amount of time to have a new center be opened.
And are the center services only available to Oxford residents?
No, Miami University students can use it as well. So we do have student counseling services on campus, but if that's busy for whatever reason or students would feel more comfortable going off campus, they can access the Oxford Counseling Center, and it's right on College Corner Pike, so not even like 5 minutes away, so it's very accessible for students as well.
How will the center be reaching out to community members?
So the people that put the center together, there's a group called the Coalition for Healthy Community, and that's made up of Oxford residents, Miami University students and professors, and just people from all corners of Oxford. So those groups are all going to be reaching out to their prospective areas of the community to get people to visit the center, and they're also partnering with the Talawanda School District as well to reach out to a younger age group.
Great. Thanks for joining us, Abby. You can read Abby's story and much more on the Miami University Oxford Patch site. Go to patch.com, search Miami University Oxford. Skylar, back to you.
The Miss Black and Gold pageant will take place at 7 p.m. on Saturday, March 11th in Shriver's Multi-Purpose Room. The pageant, a national program of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, aims to promote the connection between success and etiquette amongst young women. The pageant embraces true womanhood, success, and confidence. The competition stresses academic excellence and scholarship, with the top winners receiving book scholarships. Collegiate ladies compete on a campus, district, regional, and national level for the title of Miss Black and Gold.
Uptown Oxford has a new dining option for students and community residents. Rapid Fired Pizza's Oxford location opened its doors early this month. The Dayton-based franchise specializes in fast, made-to-order pizzas in 180 seconds. The pizza establishment filled the vacant space that previously housed Orange Leaf frozen yogurt. Along with craft pizzas, Rapid Fire gives customers the option to customize their own pizza for the flat price of $7.50. For Miami students and Oxford community members over the age of 21, Rapid Fire offers over 30 craft beers.
9 Miami students won the Regional Venture Capital Investment Competition earlier this month. The competition gives students a chance to act as institutional investors representing a venture capital firm. Miami was the only school from Ohio invited to attend.
I think giving us the opportunity to actually learn about venture capital in depth and get that real world experience, which isn't really offered in our classes.
Yeah, and I think it just puts Miami on the map.
The team will compete in the final round of competition in North Carolina on March 24th. That's all for this week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Skylar Dubelko.
And I'm Angie Riffle. You can watch us online on our YouTube page. Search Oxford Weekly News.
Also, connect with us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Oxford Weekly News.